All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to cut through all the noise in the health and wellness world. We're going to build a super simple but really powerful framework that puts you back in the driver's seat of your own well-being.
Do you ever just feel like you're drowning in health advice? I mean, one day coffee is a superfood, the next it's terrible for you. Eat more carbs. No, wait, cut all carbs. It's so confusing, and let's be honest, it's just exhausting trying to keep up with it all.
You know, we get hit with this constant flood of conflicting headlines and these so-called miracle cures. If you feel like the goalposts are always moving, you are not alone. It makes you wonder if there's any solid ground to stand on at all.
But what if you could just ignore all that noise? What if, instead of chasing the latest trend, you had a simple, unchanging user manual for your own body? A framework built around just 5 levers that are 100% within your control. Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down right now.
So, part of the problem starts with that word we hear all the time, lifestyle. You're told to improve your lifestyle, but what does that even mean? It's this vague, confusing black box. It feels so complicated because, honestly, no one's ever given us a clear map of what's actually inside.
So, today we are going to open that black box. The source material for this explainer gives us a really powerful framework called AVAVS. The best way to think about it is like a user manual, a clear, structured map to help you navigate your own health.
AVAVS is an acronym for 5 Sanskrit words: Ahara, Vihara, Achara, Vichara, and Sanchara. But here's the most important part of this slide, the key phrase, controllable inputs. This isn't about your genetics or things you can't change. This is all about the daily choices that you, and only you, have the power to make.
And here they are, our 5 levers: consumption, recovery, consistency, cognition, and environment. Now, we're going to walk through each one, but just seeing them laid out like this, it already feels simpler, doesn't it? This right here is our roadmap. All right, let's really get into the nuts and bolts of these 5 levers. Think of these as the tools you already have in your hands right now to start building better health.
Okay, first up is Ahara. This is your consumption lever. This is probably the one we all think about first when we talk about health, what we're actually putting into our bodies.
But Ahara is so much more than just what you eat. It's also when you eat and even how you eat. Every choice you make sends these powerful signals throughout your body, directly impacting everything from the health of your gut to the efficiency of your mitochondria, which are literally the tiny power plants inside every single one of your cells. Next, we have Vihara, which is your recovery lever. Now, it's so easy to focus on what we do when we're active, right? But in our modern hustle culture, this lever is probably the most ignored, and yet it is absolutely critical for our long-term health. See, Vihara isn't just about clocking in 8 hours. It's about the quality of that sleep. And it's also about building in moments of deliberate rest and relaxation into your day. This is when your body does its most important work, repairing tissue, cleaning out waste, locking in memories. Recovery is an active process, not a passive one. You have to choose it. Lever number 3 is Achara. You can think of this as your consistency lever. This is all about becoming the architect of your own day by using the power of routines, rituals, and even personal boundaries. Now, having routines isn't about being rigid or boring. Not at all. It's about giving your body's internal clocks, your circadian rhythm, a stable, predictable schedule to follow. Plus, it saves you an incredible amount of mental energy by cutting down on decision fatigue. When your healthy habits are automatic, you don't have to waste willpower on them. Okay, now we're going to turn inward to what might be the most powerful and honestly, the most underrated lever of them all, Vichara. This is your neurocognitive lever. It's all about your mind, your thoughts, your core beliefs, and that little voice that's always talking in your head.
And this is where the mind-body connection gets real. Your thoughts aren't just these abstract things floating around. They directly control your body's central stress response system, the HPA axis, and they have a direct, measurable impact on your immune system. I mean, think about that. What you think literally becomes your biology.
And that brings us to our 5th and final lever, Sanchara. This is your environmental lever. This is the one that connects your inner world to the big world all around you.
Sanchara is way more than just exercise. Of course, it's about physical movement, but it's also about the company you keep, your social circles, and the actual physical spaces you live and work in. How you choose to move through your world, and who you choose to move with, that is an incredibly powerful lever for your health.
So, there you have it, the 5 levers: Ahara, Vihara, Achara, Vichara, and Sanchara. But what holds it all together? Well, there's one single powerful principle that brings this entire framework to life.
This is it. This is the golden rule. Don't allow anyone else to handle my AVAVS. Think about it. A doctor can write you a prescription, but they can't take the pill for you. A personal trainer can design a workout, but they can't lift the weights for you. What this really means is that in the moment of action, the control, the responsibility, and all the power, it's yours.
And this principle creates a huge shift in mindset. You know, the old view kind of treats you like a passive patient, just sitting there waiting for instructions. The AVAVS view, it transforms you into a sovereign agent, the active CEO of your own health, making conscious, deliberate choices about your 5 levers every single day.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work in the real world? Let's take a look at how you can use this framework to go after specific health goals. And this is where it gets really practical. Instead of some vague goal like, I want to be healthier, you can get super specific. So for example, if you're targeting something like type 2 diabetes, your primary lever to pull is ahara, consumption. A specific strategy could be something like time-restricted eating. What about chronic anxiety? The focus shifts to vichara, your mind, and a mindfulness practice becomes your go-to tool. Feeling tired all the time? That's probably a vihara issue, your recovery lever. The intervention? A consistent sleep schedule. For bone density or osteoporosis, the key lever is sanchara, movement, and the strategy is daily resistance training. See how this framework lets you create targeted, effective strategies for real-world issues? It's a game changer.
And that really brings us to the end, but it's also a new beginning for you. As you look at this map of your well-being, this user manual we've just walked through, the real question isn't whether you can change. The question is, where will you start? Which one of your 5 levers will you adjust first? What's the smallest, most powerful change you can make today? The choice is entirely in your hands.